Good morning, everyone. Today I am going to discuss about the topic insect molting. So, what is insect molting? So, insect molting is a periodical process of removal or shedding of old cuticle accompanied by formation of a new cuticle is called as insect molting. So, I have told you in before class or previous class about insect integument. So, actually, what happened? The insect integument is consisting of epidermis and that of insect cuticle also. So this non-living part, this insect cuticle, when it is removing out, that is called as exuvi. And to replace this insect old cuticle, there is a new cuticle formation that is called as new cuticle, and the whole process is called as insect molting. So I will discuss in the next slides. So here you have seen, I have also depicted here that this is the periodical shedding of old cuticle accompanied by formation of new cuticle. So what I have told you in previous class. So this is a basement membrane, this is the epidermis, and this is the cuticle. Okay, this is the non-living cell, this is the living cell, and this cuticle is what is non-living cell. When this non-living cuticle is removing out, okay, that is called as exuvi. And to replace this non-living exuvi, another new cuticle is formed. Okay, and the whole process is called as molting. Okay. And you see, I am telling you about the three different important terms. You just remember it. One is stadium, then a instar, and third is ferret instar. Okay, so actually what stadium means, throughout the life one insect may undergo different times for the molting. Means one insect can undergo 5 times molting. So there is a time interval between each molting. So I can tell, if there is a time interval between the first molting and second molting. So this time interval between the first molting and second molting is called as stadium. But during this interval, the stage accompanied by that particular insect is called as instar. So I will explain you now. So in the holometabolous insect, what happened? There are 4 stages. One is egg, larva, pupa, and adult. 4 stages. But remember one thing also, in between a particular stage, there are different types of instar also. That means at a particular stage, that is called larva, there are different types of instar. That is called as instar 1, instar 2, instar 3, and instar 4. So number of instars depends upon the what type of larva that are. That is a holometabolous larva, or that may be another type of larva. That is a campaniform larva. That is a whatever larva may be. So I will discuss these types of larva and other thing in next classes, but I will discuss about the instar first. So what actually instar is, in this picture depicted here, you just see, first is egg is there. Okay, from egg this larva one is there. That means not larva one, that is called instar one. Okay, instar one. So so starting from this instar one, this molting process started. That is called molting one here. So this is instar one, this is molting one. So there is a growth of this instar one, and there is another stage of molting, that is called molting 2. Same thing here, this is molting 3, this is molting 4, this is molting 5. Okay, what I have told you before, the time interval between each molting is called, between two molts is called as stadium. That means here this is the first stadium, this is the second stadium, this is the third stadium, this is the fourth stadium. Okay, and the stage at a particular stadium is called as instar. That means you see, this is the larval instar 1, this is the larval instar 2, this is the larval instar 3, this is the pupa, and this is the adult. That means during the progression of this molting process, there is an increase of instar size. You see here the instar is very small, this is instar 1, but here the instar 2 is somewhat larger than that of instar 2, and instar 3 is the largest. Okay, so I have told you because that the interval between the two subsequent molting is called stadium, and the stage or the form assumed by the stadium is called the instar. You see here 1, 2, 3, 4, these all are larval stages. but this is instar 1, instar 2, instar 3 and instar 4, because one molting is there between each instar. Okay, that's why only this is called instars, and this is the pupa and this is the adult. So another term is called as ferret. What do you mean by ferret? During the progression of molting, some instar may accompany this exuviae with them. That means they will not shred the exuviae properly. They will contain the exuviae with their molting process. That is called ferret stage. You see here, this is called as ferret. This is written as ferret. That means after molting, this instar to contain somewhat exuviae with them. That is not 100% removed. That is called as ferret stage. Okay. So these are the stages of molting. So there are 5 stages of insect molting. The first one is behavioral changes. Second is the changes in epidermis. Third is apolysis. Then fourth one is ecdysis, and fifth one is the new cuticle formation. So I will discuss each step in a detailed manner. So what is behavioral changes? Actually, when the molting process starts, there is a behavioral changes in the insect. That means they became so lethargic, they became so inactive because of one factor, that is called food factor. Why? They lost their appetite. That means there is no hungerness, there is no appetite for that insect. That's why they won't eat any food. And due to lack of food, due to lack of nutrition, they became inactive, they became lethargic. Okay, this is called as behavioral changes. Then changes in epidermis. What is epidermis? I have told you before. In a insect cuticle, this cellular layer, this is the basement membrane, that is non-cellular layer, and this is the epidermis, that is cellular layer, and above that the cuticle is there, that is also non-cellular. So during this molting process also there is a changes in epidermis. You see, in the epidermis, cell size, its activity, protein content, enzyme level increases, and cell divide mitotically and increases the tension which results in loosening the cell cuticle. What happened actually? You see, this is the epidermis. There are different types of cells are there. Okay, different types of cells are there. Okay, so what will happen? These cells, there is a increase of size, increase of size. Okay, and increase of size, and due to increase in size there is a increase of protein content and enzyme content. Okay, so what will happen? These cells also divide mitotically. That means mitotically means one cell will be formed to two cells. So number of cells increase, protein content increase, and enzyme content is everything increase. If your resources are increasing, you have a small house. Okay, you have a small house. In that small house you have 2 tables and one bed. But if you are increasing your number of tables and number of beds, that means space is somewhat limited. Now you have to construct a new house, or you have to increase your space. Same thing here. When this protein content, enzyme content, number of cells, cell size, everything increasing, that space is limited for accompanying this all these things, so that only that epidermis ruptured and the loosening of the cuticle happened. Okay, what is the reason behind it? You know, due to increase of cell content, cell size, protein content, enzyme content, everything, the space is limited. So to accompany, to form a new space only, the molting process started. Okay, and this is the apolysis. What is apolysis? Apolysis is the process of detachment of the cuticle from the epidermis. Very very important, you have to remember these things. Detachment of cuticle from the epidermis. You have seen here. Okay, you see here, I will tell you here, this during this pictures, there are different steps involved in this process. One is the formation of soft cuticular space, that is called skimmed layer. Okay, you see here, this is a space like structure. This is a space. Okay, this space is called as ecdysial space. Ecdysial space or skimmed layer or subcuticular layer. And what happened after that? Secretion of molting gel in the exuvial space. Okay, so you see here, this is the basement membrane, this is the epidermis, and before that it was cuticle. But after some what will happen? This is the cuticle hole, this is the cuticle. Okay, But after some time, what will happen? This is the basement membrane, this is the epidermis, and there is a formation of new space. This is the new space. It is called skimmed layer or subcuticular space, and above that the cuticle is there. Okay. And what is the function of this subcuticular space? Actually, the subcuticle in that subcuticular space region, I have told you the space is needed. So during that space, in that space, some gel is secreted. That is called as molting gel. That is called as molting gel. But initially, this molting gel became inactive. That is in inactive stage until the formation of outer cuticular layer. Formation of outer cuticular layer of new cuticle. That means what will happen? This is the old cuticle. This is the old cuticle. So before the formation of old, that is new cuticle, this molting gel become inactive, and after the formation of new cuticle only, this molting gel become inactive and start their function. And activation of molting gel to molting fluid to the digest the old endocuticle. You see here, this whole part is called as endocuticle. This whole part is called as endocuticle. Okay. So this endocuticle will be digested by this molting gel when it became active. And so this is the formation, this is the function of the molting gel is to digest the old endocuticle, and the transport of the potassium ion, bulk of water in exuvial space which occurs after the outer layer of the new cuticle is formed. So in the summary, I can tell you. So I have told you before, there is a formation of space. So in that space, what will happen? In that space, the molting gel will be formed, and that molting gel will remain inactive when until this new cuticle is not formed. When the new cuticle is formed, then after the molting gel become active, and whatever the old cuticle is there, that will digest that old cuticle. Okay. So these are the properties of the molting fluid. So molting fluid rich in chitinase and proteinase. So as I have told you, this cuticle is endocuticle and exocuticle is rich in chitin, but epicutically there is no chitin. So to digest this cuticle, there is two enzymes. One is chitinase and proteinase. Chitinase means it will digest the chitin, and proteinase means it will digest or it will break down the protein and digest all the unsclerotized cuticle except the ecdygial membrane. So there is a structure called ecdygial membrane in case of head. So except that ecdygial membrane, all the cuticle are digested by this old, that is the molting fluid. So you have to remember. So this ecdygial membrane cannot be digested. Cannot be digested. Okay. There is no effect on exocuticle. That is tanned proteins, muscles, nerves, and old culture. As I've told you, tanned and untanned, I have told you. Okay. Tanned means what? Tanned means this is black and this is hard. Untanned means what? This is not black. This is very smooth. In case of endocuticle, what is there? Chitin plus arthropodin. And in case of exocuticle, what is there? Chitin plus sclerotin. And as I've told you, arthropodin is non-tanned, but sclerotin is tanned. That means during this molting process, this sclerotin won't go for digestion. This sclerotin will be not digested. That means exocutically remain as same. So that's why this is called as no effect on exocuticle. That is called a tan protein. And on muscles also there is no effect, and nerve also there is no effect. And the products of digested this cuticle is absorbed by the epidermis 90%, and the cuticle material is conserved. And this is the process of ecdysis. What is the ecdysis? That is a ecdysis consisting of two different processes. One is rupturing of old cuticle, and is removal of old cuticle. So insect increase the body volume through intake of air and water. Okay. So insect will increase its body volume. Okay. For by taking of air and water, which enhances the blood flow, to the head and thorax. Thereby the old cuticle is rupturing along the predetermined, like that is called ecdysial line. So I am telling you first here also. So I have told you there is a need of space for accompanying the newly synthesized cells increase cell size, enzymes, protein, etc. So for the increasing the size of the body, what will happen? The insect will intake the air and water. Okay, so what will happen? Due to the intake of air and water, the blood flow will be much more towards the body head region. And as I have told you before, there is a line that is called ecdysial line. So in that head region there is a ecdysial line, and due to this blood flow to this ecdysial line, what will happen? This old cuticle is ruptured at that ecdysial membrane, that is called as ecdysial line, that is present in the head. Okay, and what is there in this removal of old cuticle? Due to the peristaltic movement of the body and lubricant action of the body, this old cuticle is removed. That means here the insect is there. Okay, so it has already ruptured the insect cuticle, means insect cuticle is ruptured already, but still it's in intact form. So what will happen? So it will be in a peristaltic movement like this. Okay, that means up down up down up down. When it will happen? It will be like this peristaltic movement. This cuticle, this old cuticle is removed properly. Okay, this is the peristaltic movement. And during its molting, the cuticular covering of legs, body, and internal foregut, hindgut, and trachea are discarded. So remember one thing. This may be a question from the exam point of view, very important. So what are the cuticular from which parts of the body the cuticular covering is removed out? First is leg, then body, then internal foregut, then hindgut, then trachea. But remember one thing, from where this ecdysial membrane is not removed. One is nerve, then muscle, then exocuticle. Okay, from this not removed. From this is removed. Okay. So here the new cuticle formation. New cuticle formation means first layer formed. Remember one thing, first layer formed is outer cuticle. And the secretion of microvilli, epidermis in patches, and these patches grow in their margin and coalesces to form a continuous layer. You see here, these are cells. Okay, this is the epidermis. These are the microvilli cells. These are what? Microvilli. Microvilli means that is a micro size. That means villi means what? There is a villi means what? This is layer. These are called as microvilli. That means the cells bordering the epidermis are called as microvilli. What the function of microvilli? For increasing surface area, for absorbing nutrient. Okay, if you are decreasing your area, if you are decreasing your size, what will happen? If one molecule is very large, another molecule is very small. The small molecule has a large surface area. Large surface area means it will increase, it has the increasing capacity of uptaking nutrition. That is the function of microvilli only. So microvilli mainly functions for increasing surface area by decreasing its size, and it will increase the uptaking of nutrients. So here also during this molting process, microvilli are there, and that will secrete some secretion. That will secrete some secretion. Some secretion is there. Okay, you see. So these microvilli cells will secrete something, and these will join each other. Okay, this will join each other. So what will happen? So during small secretion, they will join each other, and they will form a new layer. It is a continuous layer. Okay, that is a continuous layer, and this is the starting of new cuticle. This is the starting of new cuticle. This is called as outer epicuticle. Okay, so then is the formation of inner cuticle. So shortly before ecdysis, the wax layer is secreted from the wax thread of the pore canal, and after ecdysis, this cement layer is secreted above the wax layer by the dermal gland. Okay, so you see, so inner epicuticle contains mostly wax layer and cement layer. So just before ecdysis, this wax layer formed and cement layer also formed. Okay, so this wax layer and cement layer is will be formed in this inner epicuticle. So another thing is the formation of procuticle. Formation of procuticle. So what is formation of procuticle? The chitin microfibrils are produced at the plaques at the surface of epidermis. So this is the surface of epidermis, and there will be chitin plaques will be there. This is called as procuticle. And what is procuticle? I have told you procuticle means what? This is the combination of endocuticle and exocuticle. As you know, endocuticle is formed by chitin plus arthropodin, and exocuticle is formed by chitin and sclerotin. So why this need of this chitin? Chitin plaques. This is called chitin plaques on the epidermis. These chitin plaques will be the fundamental body for making this endocuticle and exocuticle. So for this exocuticle, this chitin and sclerotin will be joined, and the space for this endocuticle, this chitin and arthropodin will be joined. Okay, and this is the hormonal control of molting. So molting is controlled by the neurosecretory cells of the brain, neurosecretory cells of the brain, that is known as corpora allata. Okay, corpora allata. And the prothoracic glands which produce the molting hormone, that is called ecdysteroids. I'll tell you the trick. And the ecdysteroids stimulate the epithelial cells in the cuticle to begin the molting process. Okay, one is corpora allata, another is corpora cardiaca. Okay, so allata means A is there, that means adult. Remember one thing, allata is always related to adult, that means adult is always related to juvenile hormone. So this corpora allata will secrete the juvenile hormone. But what is the corpora cardiaca? Cardiac means what? Cardiac means heart. You know, cardiac means what? Heart. So when there is a function related to heart, that is the function of corpora cardiaca. So by this you remember corpora allata means adult. So when adult is related to juvenile hormone, that means when the juvenile hormone concentration is much more, the larva will be larva only, not pupa. That means it will not come to the adult. But when the juvenile hormone is less, then sorry, when the juvenile hormone is less, that larva will be in the larval stage. But when the juvenile, okay, so I am telling you here, you see, this is the sorry, this is corpora, what, corpora allata. Okay, allata means what I have told you before. Allata means adult. Adult means what? Juvenile hormone. If juvenile hormone is more, juvenile means what? New stages. Juvenile hormone is more, that means larval stages. Larva will not go further to adult. But when the juvenile hormone is less, this larva will go to the adult, not adult, only pupa. I have told you before, large amount of juvenile hormone, larva will go to larva, not adult or pupa. Small amount of juvenile hormone, that's larva will go to pupa, but no juvenile hormone, that is pupa, will go to the adult. And another thing is that prothoracic gland. Prothoracic gland, it will secrete the molting hormone that is called as ecdysteroids. These ecdysteroids only drive the process for the molting. These ecdysteroids stimulate the epithelial cells in the cuticle to begin the molting process. Okay. So for the hormonal control, remember three things. One is the corpora allata, corpora cardiaca, and prothoracic gland. Corpora allata means adult, means that is juvenile hormone. When the juvenile hormone will be more, the larva will confine to larva only. When it will be less, the larva will go to pupa. But when there is no juvenile hormone, then the pupa will go to adult. Okay. And this corpora cardiaca means related to heart. All the heart function of the insect is related to this corpora cardiaca. But when there is a prothoracic gland that will produce the molting fluid, that is called ecdysteroids, molting hormones. These molting hormones will promote for this molting process. Okay, so this thing is about the molting process. So thank you. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me by the WhatsApp or by a phone call. I will try to clarify everything. Thank you so much.